Hello and welcome to this 13th day of MIAMAFV, which is also an anime triple play where we take a look at 3 anime that all have something in common. Today, dank-ass monster girls.
And it's going to be a triple play! 3 by 3 to the line! Banks in the three-pointer! An unassisted triple play!
It's red panty night when you decide to fight me, yeah?
Have you ever? No, I've never!
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
I'm gay.
I say, Slap, why do you like monster girls so much? Well, you see, my good man, monster girls have their monster on the outside, not the inside like regular girls. Oh yes, quite good, quite well reasoned, superb, superlative, excelsior, yes, yes! Yeah, monster girls have come straight to the forefront of the anime world in the last few years, making them some of the most beloved characters in all of anime. They're honestly giving traps a run for their money as the most discussed anime archetypes. But for real though, why do we love monster girls so much? I guess it's because they're usually represented as a misunderstood outsider. Girls that you need to sit down and learn about as you peel back the layers and eventually just recognize them for first and foremost as just regular girls with a few outside quirks. There's something inherently sweet about that. Something so sweet it just makes you want to smash that motherfucking like button. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into what is perhaps the most blatantly provocative show out of this triple play, Monster Musume. At first glance, Monster Musume looks like just the standard type of harem anime trash you'd expect. And while it is that, it definitely is that, you got a lot more lurking just beneath the surface. But there's some digging you have to do to get to that point. To see if you can hack it, just watch the very first scene of this show, the infamous tail wanking scene. If you can make it past that, you're good. Our show is centered on Kimihito, but he might as well not have a name because his face spends more time like this rather than like this. That's not a joke, by the way. I honestly think I saw his real face maybe half a dozen times throughout the entire 12-episode run and the 2 OVAs. He is the ultimate self-insert pro-tag guy. He has taken in Mia, a Lamia snake girl, who has come to where humans reside to live. MC Protag Guy gets a stipend from the government for taking in monster girls, so one can make a pretty decent living out of just housing monster girls and fulfilling their basic needs. As time passes, he takes in a few more monster girls and thus the harem grows. Of course, Kimihito is blue-balled the whole way through, as per any harem anime, but here he actually has a pretty good reason. The law strictly forbids interspecies breeding. Unless you're married. I'm not exactly sure why that makes a difference to the government, but, you know, whatever. So his ever-growing harem of snake girls, centaurs, mermaids, spider girls, doulahans, and slimes compete for his favor, hoping that one day they can become his wife and get some of that sweet, sweet normie peen. If you liked Love Hina back in the day, and other countless iterations of the harem genre, then give this one a go. Also, if you're a monster girl connoisseur, there's a lot here to enjoy as well. Each of these girls needs their own little unique habitat to reside in, and the little factoids they throw out are really interesting. I'm a sucker for exposition, and if you enjoyed the Monster Girl Encyclopedia, then you're definitely going to enjoy this show. Although by far my favorite aspect of the show is the political struggles Kimihito has to go through. He has a government agent named Agent Smith, no bullshit, Agent Smith, who is tasked with overseeing his caretaking of the monster girls in question. Now, Agent Smith also works with MON, a special task force of monster girl police officers who keep law and order in the monster community living amidst the humans. These girls are the best girls, hands down. Tio, Monaco, and Zombina are all bae. Straight up, no contest. We'll let Mia slip in there and Mero too because she's cool with getting cucked. When it's all said and done, Monster Musume brings to the table first just ecchi harem shenanigans, but just underneath its surface it has plenty of sweet, heartwarming moments that remind you why monster girls are so goddamn dank in the first place. Speaking of heartwarming moments, that's a damn good segue into the next leg of this triple play, interviews with monster girls. As I said in my 2017 anime year-end review, this show is really straightforward. We got a high school teacher, Tetsuo Takahashi, who has some Monster Girl students and he wants to know more about Monster Girls, so he interviews them. Super simple. Here we have a group of Monster Girls who barely even look like Monster Girls at all, except for our one Doulahan over here. But like all things, the devil is in the details. Most of these girls aren't really Monster Girls so much as they are just regular girls with a few strange quirks and some lame superpowers. What I like most about this show is it doesn't get too weird with itself. It could get really pervy really quick. quick, but it doesn't. Our teacher Tetsuo Takahashi is careful not to come off as weird or creepy or predatory or anything, and he just talks things over with the monster girls being the straight man. He takes care of himself, he's not some weirdo, and he's pretty much the perfect teacher. There are some misunderstandings along the way, but it all works out in the end. The only time the show gets weird is with Succubus-san, who has the ability to put any man under her lustful spell with just a bit of exposed skin or a quick touch. But she's the one adult monster girl in the show, so it's all good. I kind of feel bad for her, honestly. She has to live way out in the country and take the early trains to get to work so she doesn't run the risk of touching anybody and getting them all aroused. But at the end of the day, she just wants to get her rocks off, and she's a hardworking gal, so she deserves it. See, even what few weirdos we do have in this show are good stand-up people. While Succubus-san is indeed bae, the main focus is on the high school girls. We have the energetic and playful vampire Hikari, Yuki the shy and reclusive ice apparition, and cute little Machi, the timid Dullahan, who is probably the most interesting monster girl out of the bunch. Throughout the show, we join Mr. Takahashi as he finds out more about the girls and their attributes, and helps them learn more about themselves as well. In this world, the monster girls are basically just genetic anomalies. They're not any sort of separate species, so they don't really know what all they can do themselves. It is an honest effort between themselves and Takahashi to figure out what's going on. The low-key aspect of this show is what I like most about it, hands down. It never gets uncomfortable, you can just sit back, relax, learn about some monster girls, and enjoy the feels. This is slice of life at one of its higher points, no doubt. The show doesn't reach any sort of climax. There's a few ecchi bits in there with Succubus-san, but not much more beyond that. But I kept tuning in week after week just to see how these girls go about their day. This is actually way more of an Iyashi K healing type show than a straight up slice of life venture. Speaking of slice of life, let's dive right into the last phase of this triple play, A Centaur's Life. A Centaur's Life basically removes regular-ass humans from the equation entirely. In this world, mammals evolved with 6 appendages, thus we have angels, demons, centaurs, and all other sorts of monster girls and boys. We even still have snake girls and oh Jesus, oh god no, you did it all wrong, you did it wrong, go back, go back, go back! Also in this world there has been a long history of discrimination and hatred towards other species for one reason or another. And we basically get dumped into a setting where the slightest injustice towards a certain species can get you sent off to a re-education camp. No shit. This show is like a total deconstruction of every SJW's wet dream dystopian hellscape.
Of course, had the four-legged amphibians survived, become the dominant race, and evolved into humans, things would be very different. There would likely still be differences in hair, skin, and eye color, but nothing significant enough to lead to serious discrimination.
Well, that's where you're wrong, kiddo. This anime focuses on our main trio. A centaur girl named Hime, the main interest of the show, a demon girl named Nozomi, and Haruka, who is a sheep girl or actually called a satyr. A Centaur's Life takes a dead-on look at what a monster girl society would look like if virulent racism had existed in the past. And then an entire generation of kids grows up in a decidedly non-racist society, and then they have to navigate their way through a world that was built around the systematic repression of racism at every single level. These girls have never known a truly racist culture or even lived in one, and yet they live their lives as though this is some sort of existential threat just looming around the corner. For real, Haruka can't even hitch a ride on Hime, the centaur girl, when she's exhausted and ready to faint because riding a centaur would be seen as making that person some sort of chattel like they used to be several generations ago. The constant PC policing even leads to a situation in which Hime and Nozomi could have been seriously injured because a stage setup wasn't built with enough reinforcement, because making fun of a centaur's weight is forbidden. That's how out of hand this shit has gotten in this world. The parallels to our own world are actually quite frankly stunning. While it may be seen as a brilliant take on modern PC culture getting out of hand, this juxtaposes harshly with the fact that this show is still just 90% high school girls doing high school things. It's just cute slice of lifery and then boom, dystopian PC nightmare out of nowhere. Plus, I'm not really digging the monster girl character designs that much either. Yeah, interviews with monster girls had just regular looking girls with pretty memorable character designs, but A Centaur's Life does the exact opposite. Obvious monster girls with bland as hell character designs, although I really do like Hime's super frizzy hair that she's constantly fighting with. Girl, you need to go out and buy yourself some mane and tail, that shit works wonders. The other side characters aren't exactly aesthetically pleasing either. We have the aforementioned snake girl who they completely fucked up, and then these mermaids with the really weird tails that split and then join back together just so we can have their mermaids wearing bikinis. I mean, if Monster Musume can have a spider girl that looks halfway a appealing, then y'all can step up your game a little bit. I mean, come on. So let's go ahead and tally everything up. If you're into monster girls for the ecchi and waifu bait, then Monster Musume is for you, my guy. You want a healing slice of life show with sweet, cute, misunderstood girls who just need a good teacher to steady themselves? Interviews with Monster Girls has you covered. And that leaves a Centaur's Life. Kinda out on its own, not knowing what it wants to be. Either a deconstruction of PC culture run amok, or slice of life high school shenanigans. But on the plus side, Centaur's Life does do the service of finally confirming that cat girls are indeed monster girls, so we have that going for us. And yeah, that just about does it. Strike 3 looking, bottom of the 9th, this ball game's over, folks. See you next time.